It feels like we're on the verge of a major Rekieta happening. So I thought I would go ahead and make a video like documenting my thoughts over the past couple of weeks and what's been happening. Because, I'm very busy and I don't really go around thinking about Rekieta all the time, right? I don't cover the content all the time. Like I think in between those two local streams I did of him, reacting to them live. Like I don't think I really thought about Rekieta much at all in between those sessions. So forgive me if I'm a little bit out of touch, but again, I do think it is time we talk about what's been happening lately and try to get like our ducks in a row in regards to what's happening because I keep seeing a lot of confusion about this and I do think the situation is getting increasingly convoluted with all these different characters. We don't know where certain people are. I see people like speculating that Nick and Kayla are getting divorced. I'm seeing people like say that like April was kicked out of the house because of like Nick's trust fund thing. Like I do think we need to talk about like what we know is happening, right? We do need to like kind of settle as to like what we can like reasonably prove um is going on at this point in time. And right now, I do think there is friction between Nick and Kayla. I think we've seen enough of them at their court hearings when they show up in public. We've seen enough of Nick's behavior. We've seen how he acts. We've seen how he talks about her. This is not a new thing, but there is very, 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 very real friction between Nick and Kayla. And in a lot of ways, we don't really know why. Like, people keep falling into this trap, I think, where they want to view Nick as the bad guy in this situation, right? They want to like blame Nick and like put it all on like his plate for like everything wrong that's in the relationship, but I'm not sure if that's true because it takes two, right? Kayla really needed to step up as the mother and the wife to put a stop to everything that's happening. In a lot of ways, the way she acts and behaves, the way Aaron talks about her, like she comes off as if she's just as manipulative and conniving as Nick is, just in a different way, right? It comes off as if she's dumb as a sack of bricks, but she's willing to go along with insane schemes on Nick's part to try and make him look better, right? In order to try and manipulate situations to his benefit, right? She was willing to come on and like LARP as the trad wife thing during those streams where she came on, and she wasn't good at it, but she tried to do it. Tried to do this thing where she was just like, I'm totally a loving mom, guys. And that obviously isn't true with what we know now and their background and stuff like that. CPS came to their house in like 2012 or something like that. Like, this is not the first time they've had these kind of situations with the law, okay? And there's all these aspects to her personality that just kind of are just kind of deplorable to people, right? What a whore she is, and how she treats other people, just how brain dead she seems. Her obsession with Star Trek. Uh, you know, getting into like she came up with the term Qover recently. Like we do believe that's a Kayla thing, right? Like Kayla is unbelievably dumb and seems perfectly willing to go along with Nick in his degeneracy, right? I can cite like a lot of instances in the past where like Nick saw sex dolls in public and he would like send them to her. He would like talk about degenerate topics with her, right? He, Drexel, and her were all best friends. Drexel himself on stream admitted that he did not want Nick to be with Kayla because he did not trust her. And I know that says a lot about Drexel, but it says a lot about Kayla too, where like he would seriously encourage his friend not to waste his time on this thought, which is really telling, I think, as to what their relationship dynamic is actually like and things like that. It's definitely something worth talking about more. Is I think is that like Kayla's role in what happened cannot be downplayed, right? Yeah, she was led by the nose by Nick to a certain extent, but after what has happened, after everything that's happened, she should have left him a long time ago, in my opinion, right? And I'm sure her family's on board with the idea. I'm sure people she knows are on board with the idea, the church, but she won't do it because, like, Nick, they seem to have this really weird parasocial dynamic where, like, they can't really function without each other, right? Like, they just cover for each other's nonsense, like, all the time, right? And it's just really really sad and pathetic to see. But I do think, like, on top of that, though, is that there is this very, very weird dysfunctionality to them, right? They are dysfunctional. They do hate each other in spite of everything they say and do, right? So with Nick and his behavior, Kayla went along with the threesome idea. She went along with, like, getting banged by Aaron and, like, allowing Nick to fuck April, right? She went along with it, right? But I do think at her core, she's not happy with it because it's very obvious that Nick favors April over her, that they're spending a lot of time together while, like, Kayla's just sitting at home on, like, drugs or whatever, right? That's, I think, what's safe for us to see. Like, we're always seeing, like, April and Nick in public together, like, getting tattoos and stuff like that. And if Kayla's there, she's kind of, like, off to the sidelines, right? She's not really doing couple things with them in a lot of ways. So, like, when you look at that, of course she's gonna start feeling alienated. Of course she's gonna start feeling jealous, and she is going to start hating April. And we've kind of seen this. We've heard this from Aaron, right? How much, right? People in the Qover, like, talk shit about each other behind each other's backs, right? Nick would talk shit about Kayla and about Aaron, and I don't know if he would ever talk shit about April, but, like, they would do that a lot. And I imagine it's safe to say that, like, it's just kind of coming to a head recently. And it's just leading to the point where uh, both of them are so my both of them have been so, like, frazzled by the drug usage that they're not really functional human beings anymore, right? This is more obvious with Nick because, like, we've seen him so often, and we've seen, like, the clear cognitive decline over the years with him, like, not being able to keep up the facade of him, like, talking about sexual topics on stream and then, like, refusing to work at all, right? We've seen that for a long time, but with Kayla, I think there's also another similar decline, right? Where she cannot seem to function at all either, right? She was late to the court hearing, right? Again, it was at, like, 1 p.m. or something, and, like, the judge reprimanded her for it. But, like, how exactly is she late for that? She doesn't work. Like, it's like she can't, like, function properly in a lot of ways. And I do think this is, like, the issue that's really going to tank both of them, is that both of them are at the point where they're no longer sane human beings, right? They are not functional. They have gone completely insane with their desire for endless drug usage and just degeneracy. It has completely alienated them from everyone they know, and they can't take care of themselves anymore. And we can see that in regards to the house, the state of the house, and the way the kids are being raised, how they don't eat properly, how Nick doesn't seem to be able to cook, right? Laundry in the kitchen and stuff like that. Like, Nick's excuses about things that happened, like, make less and less sense every time. Like, remember when he tried to say that he wasn't pulled over by the cops when, like, he totally was? Like, he tried to say, like, something like, oh, like, he tried to play the tough guy, like, on stream, like, oh, the cops there, like, it's just, like, it's so delusional. It's so out of touch with reality. And we're at the point now where, like, to a certain extent, like, it's like he can't process the fact that he's losing. This has been, like, the reoccurring thing since, like, this entire issue began. But Nick can't seem to handle the fact that people don't like him, they don't respect him, and they don't want to be around him. Right? To him, like, engaging in drugs and sex is, like, what being popular means, right? To him, this is like the most important thing, as opposed to like serving the community and being a good person for its own sake, and finding value in his work and stuff like that. Like no, like to him, he just to him it was all just a means to get what he wanted, right? To have access to more disposable income in order to like live the hedonistic lifestyle that he always wanted, right? Like, and he got it, and it completely destroyed him. Nick is no longer capable of functioning as a rational human being, and that's what leads me into like the reason I wanted to make this video. The reason I wanted to talk about this, um, I think it's very, very clear based on Nick's behavioral patterns, on how he writes online, how he conducts himself, the way he views things, the way he behaves. I think it is very, very obvious that Nick Rekieta is posting on April Law's Twitter account, right? The April Law 1111 thing. The one where like she's always posting all these cutesy things about Rekieta, about how she isn't with him, but desperately wishes she could be. It reminds me of like how like Spoonie would LARP as his dog, right? He made like a Twitter account for Oreo Antweiler, and then he would like post like all this stupid shit about like how like she was a beautiful puppy and how much she loved Noah. It's just cringe and just weird nonsense, right? That like weirdos online do. It's not like unprecedented. We've seen this behavior before. It's like a narcissistic thing, right? Like, oh man, I'm so great. Even my dog will go on Twitter and tell me how great I am. Like, to me, this indicates like Rekieta's mindset, right? That he's role playing as April in order to create the illusion that he's loved and successful, that April loves him and supports him and wants to be with him, right? Like that's the mindset. When in reality, it looks almost as if April is like on the lookout for like the next what do you call these guys? Next John to jump onto. Like I don't think that's the right term, but like the next guy, right? To me, I've been saying this for a long time, but like, this is not an unpopular opinion. If April could find someone to leech off of that was more successful than Nick, she would. But like, I think the issue is that considering her age and like her general appearance and her attitude and like her background, that she's not going to be able to do it. Like Nick is the best she's ever going to get. And because like he gave her everything she wanted, like she's not going to be able to settle for anything else, right? She went from Aaron to Nick, and with Nick, like she peaked, right? Like she can't keep hoeing around no more. Right? Like she's a complete and total failure, and everyone who knows anything about her knows this. But like she's stuck with Nick, even though it's causing her severe personal problems. Right? His family's probably doesn't like her. Kayla's family doesn't like her. The kids probably hate her guts. Like she is in this position where she can't really LARP as like the loving wife anymore, right? Because like she left her husband for this guy to be in this three-way relationship. And it's the guy is completely mentally unstable and is probably going to go to prison, right? We are seeing the falling apart of the Qover, right? Aaron was kicked out a long time ago, but now like Nick, Kayla, and April have been left to their own devices, and things immediately got worse. With the arrest, with like everything that's happened since then, with Nick in rehab, like it couldn't be more obvious to me that things have been getting worse. But the thing is, where we are now when it comes to like the Rekieta sphere, we don't know exactly what that means, right? Because like, April's not on camera all the time, Kayla's not on camera all the time. Like all we can do is just kind of estimate, right? They're kind of isolated at this point in time. And I don't think the families are going to go public at all. But like until Nick tells us what's up, it seems like we're in this position where like we have like no possible way of knowing like how things have progressed since like the arrest, right? That was like the big eye-opening moment for a lot of people, that like just just how depraved Rekieta actually was. I myself did not never assumed he was on drugs. I knew about the alcoholism, but like the drug thing was kind of beyond me because I have no experience with drugs, right? So like to see this happen was just an enlightening experience for me. And I think we're on the verge of another major revelation in regards to the situation, specifically in regards to the status of the Qover.